So today we are diving in the world of audio compression with the spotlight squarely on the Manley Nu Mu. Welcome everyone to the first episode of Studio Gear Unveiled. In this series, I show you what's in my home studio and how I use it. So real quick, this video or any other video in this series is not sponsored at all. It's all by equipment that I believe in, that I purchased myself. I only recommend gear that I vouch for and that I use on a daily basis, which basically means that I vouch for it enough and I believe in it enough to share it with you. I will have links in the description for everything that I show you and pretty much everything in my studio. Just for full transparency, those links are affiliate links. That's the way I continue to grow my channel and keep it alive and make videos like this for all of you. So if you decide to take the plunge, I appreciate if you use my links. No pressure, it's all good. I hate it when people pressure me to use the links and stuff, so I totally get it. Today, we're diving in the world of audio compression with the spotlight squarely on the Manley Nu Mu. This versatile unit has earned its place in modern music production, period, captivating producers and engineers alike, and that's why you probably see it in a lot of studios. So join me as we uncover the sound of the Manley Nu Mu, and hopefully it can help you with your production and your engineering, and maybe add some flavor to the salsa. By the way, at the end of the video, I do give you a bonus tip because I've had this for a while, and it's one thing I wish I would have started doing in the beginning, but it's never too late to teach an old dog new tricks. But I ain't an old dog. I'm not an old dog like old dog. Hey. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about what the Manley Nu Mu is. The Manley Nu Mu is a high-end compressor and limiter. The limiter on there is not a brick wall, so it sounds more like a clipper, but it still sounds really good. So the Manley Nu Mu is designed for modern producers and engineers with faster attack times and faster release times than the variable Mu that won't kill your transients if used right. Remember that. It's a piece of equipment that can take your audio pretty much to the next level if done right. Let me say this because maybe that sounds wrong. I see on YouTube a lot, and I do mean a lot, where I see other YouTubers saying that this one plugin or this one piece of hardware is that magic sounding piece that's gonna take your mixes to a whole nother level and that's all you need. Well, let me tell you, that's just cap. And this is what I mean. When you get a new piece of gear, whether that's new monitors, converters, plugins, compressors, typically when you get it, it takes a good amount of mixes to get fluent with that piece of hardware or whatever it is and truly understand it and how to make your mixes better with it. Now, in most situations, you can hear like an immediate difference from what you were prior using. Say if you went from like my monitors, the Ex Machinas, from like the Frontiers like I did, yeah, there's gonna be an immediate difference. But to truly understand how to mix on it, in my opinion, probably the most important thing is how to hear it and understand it. That usually takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen instantly. Every mix is different and it brings something different to the table. And most times it throws something different at you sonically. So therefore, if you haven't put that new piece of equipment or whatever it is through its paces, how are you gonna know what it's good at, where it lacks, etc. So when I hear things like other YouTubers say that they got monitors the first day and their mixes were instantly better, or that they got this and it was instantly better, I have to call cap because I used to be 18, I used to be 19, and that's when I first started my music production career. And to me, that sounds like a Guitar Center pitch. Like, hey, this is what you need. This is all you're gonna need. I don't think that's true. Most times you need to build a chain. And I can tell you right now, the Nu Mu is not that magic compressor that's gonna elevate you to new stratospheres or whatever, but it can help you get there depending on what you pair it with and how you use it. And I just wanted to be honest with you guys. So just be careful, do your research first, question everything, question me and what I say. So when I tell you things in this video, go research it, go do it on your own and see if it holds true. We all hear things differently. In my ears, I can tell you right now, there's things I've recommended years ago that I probably wouldn't recommend anymore because my ears have matured. They've grown. They have more experience. I have more mixes under my belt. So that's all I'm saying. So what I tell you is my experiences and my opinion only, not what a sponsor wants me to do. Now let's talk about how the Nu Mu is made. Manley Labs, a renowned name in the audio industry, takes precision craftsmen to a whole nother level. The Nu Mu is handcrafted in their California-based facility, ensuring top-notch quality. And funny story about that, my Nu Mu, when it was being made straight from the factory, I was actually able to call Manley Factory and talk to the person that was building my Nu Mu. I think his name was George. I don't know, I could be wrong, but he walked me through the paces, told me how to use it, gave me some tricks on how to use it. And I just wanna say, to me, that's complete customer service to where you can actually talk to the person that built your unit and they're building your unit while you're on the phone. That is super cool. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of what makes the Manley Nu Mu a must-have piece for my studio and maybe yours. The Nu Mu features a dual band tube compressor limiter, which means you can process 2 audio channels at once. I usually do this, especially on any stereo piece of gear, any stereo compressor. I unlink the sides because it really helps with my stereo width, and I love that feature on this. The compression ratio on this is a 3-to-1 fixed ratio, and the limiter, if I'm not mistaken, is a 10-to-1. And it also has this function on there called HIP, and that just allows you to get more of a creative control. To me, the HIP function sounds more like a parallel compressor, but not as strong. It just knows just what to put up in there. I don't know how they do this. I don't know the science. When the link function is used, it links the left and right channel on this. The left channel becomes like the main channel for control, and you control the threshold, attack, and the recovery controls. As far as the output goes, those are still independent. This is not like a mastering version, so it is not indented. This is more of a free flow. So recovery on this can be a bit troublesome sometimes, just depending on the angles of your pictures and how you took them, if you need to recall. Let's talk about the Nu Mu and its build. Basically, it's built like a tank. It's a lot lighter than I thought it would be when I first got it out the box, and it's a lot shorter. It's equipped with these VUs in the middle, and they're very quite striking. They're nice and purple, and when you have them in the studio, when it's dark and stuff, it's a nice aesthetic. It's got like a modern feel, but a retro feel to it as well. It just looks good, and it sounds great. We'll get to that. But honestly, what sets the Nu Mu apart amongst my other gear here, it's just the sound quality. It's so reliable. I can use this on vocals, I can use this on bass, I can use this on my mix bus, I can use this on a drum bus. Like, it sounds great. It's just fast enough for modern drums, and it's just slow enough for vocals. It's got everything that you need in the range that you need it in. I love this piece of gear. Fun fact, this was probably my 6th or 7th piece of hardware, and I think as far as staying power, this has been the second longest piece of gear that I've had in my studio besides my Fusion. So one of the standout features that the Nu Mu has to me is its tube compression sound. It utilizes a pair of 6B A6 vacuum tubes, which brings that classic analog warmth all the way back to your audio. This tube-driven compression is the hallmark of the Manley gear. If you worked on any Manley gear, you just kind of know it instantly. This adds character and depth to your sound. Speaking of sound, let's see how this bad boy sounds. Gosh, how many times did I say sound right there? Speaking of sound, this doesn't matter. Let's go. All right, guys, so here's the example. I am going into my Lynx Aurora 16 in, 16 out. As you see, it's pulled up on the screen. Buffer size is 256, and the sample rate is at 96. Slight flex. We're only at 30%. I can go up from there, but I don't really need to. So at this point, what I've done is I went ahead on the master track, master bus here, and I'm using the hardware. I'm running the Nu Mu through the Flock Audio patch. As you see here, let me bring that up. Bam, there we go. Flock Audio patch in the building. I'm just running that right there. So proof of concept. Now, I'm going to have this bypassed, and we are going to check out the track and see what it sounds like just running through the Manley Nu Mu. All right, here we go. Make sure you're listening on monitors or headphones because it's very subtle until we start to get some gain reduction. That's not level matched. I went up 3 dB. Okay, so you can hear just running through the Nu Mu does add some character, does add some sonic goodness. Now let's go ahead on the master bus and start to get some gain reduction. On here, I do have the high pass sidechain on. Remember, this is at 100, and I'm gonna flip through the hip function back and forth so you can hear what that does. And as far as the stereo imaging, I am linked on this, and usually I don't, but for the sake of this demo and keeping it simple, I am going to be linked. And also, if you look at the attack on here, you would think that an attack that fast will kill your transients. Not the case with the Nu Mu. It's not super fast, so it's really gentle on your transients. And then you look at the recovery speed there, right where it needs to be for this track, at least in my opinion. So let's go ahead and check that out and get some gain reduction. All right, so you can see what the Manley does there. I did kick back on the recovery because I heard some pumping, and that's what I love about hardware, because every track is different, and sometimes your usual settings don't work because the transients, the fundamental of the bass, whatever kind of hangs around. And so you want to dial that in until your taste. And for me, that works. If you notice there, I did hit the 3 decibel button just to kind of show you guys what it sounds like driving that input transformer and that T-bar. Everything just sounds great to me. Let's hear this on the vocal. All right, so here we are on the vocal. I do have this running a Pro Q3, Neoverb, Neutron, Tube Tech, getting some gain reduction on here. Not much, very slight, but it's not uncommon to use 2 compressors. So let's hear it without, and then let's get into it. Yeah, this is great. So once again, make sure you guys are listening on some good monitors or some good headphones. To me in the studio, it's very apparent what this is doing. I love like really everything about it. Let's try this with the faster tech. Let's try that. Hear those transients? Listen to that. Back off that tack a little bit. There we go. You could drive it. Yep. So what did you think of the Nu Mu right there? Was it everything you imagined? Was it underwhelming? Was it subtle? Was it something you're thinking about getting? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, while you're at it, share this video with someone that you think that might be in the hunt for a new compressor, or if they were thinking about getting a Manley, this could be the video. Or it could be you. I do want to say this, I think the sidechain control on this is essential for modern music. There's just no way around it. And I'm glad that they did put this on there. And like I said before, you can use this on all sorts of sources. Whether you're tracking vocals, tracking bass, my MPC, yeah, I run my MPC through this, also along with my Prophet and my Motif. I run all of my keyboards through that. As a matter of fact, I run my MPC and all of my keyboards into a DI box first made by Phoenix Audio. It's called the Phoenix N8. And what I do, I run my hardware through there first, and then I run it into my interface, which is the links, and then I bring it into my DAW. By the time it has made that round trip, it sounds fantastic. And then at that point, if I want to run it with the Flock Audio and run some other pieces of hardware like the Nu Mu, like my Phoenix preamp, or like my API preamp onto those sources, the possibilities really at that point is just endless. So is the Nu Mu like one of my go-tos? I think that's very clear. It's in my studio and you guys kind of see how I'm gushing about it. And I'm not just doing this to have you click a link or whatever. I'm doing this because I really freaking like this thing. I think it's clear that the Manley Nu Mu is a game changer for home studio producers and engineers. Its craftsmanship, its tech specs is exceptional. The sound quality makes it an essential tool for modern music production, in my opinion. So remember I was talking about the bonus tip in the beginning of the video? Well, here it is. You know how on other compressors you can drive the sound into the compressor and then kick back on the output? Well, there's no input level on this. Technically, you can actually use that 3 dB switch and push that up and then kick back on the output. What that's gonna do, since the transformer is on the input itself, you're driving into that transformer and you get more coloration on whatever source you're trying to do that for. So once again, it's got the transformer on the input and it's the T-bar design. And honestly, that's what the doctor ordered for this unit. I don't know. You know what? I don't know if it didn't have that, if it would still have this appeal that it has, the sound or appeal that it has. If you're serious about your sound and you want to get something that I think is a difference maker, depending on how big of a difference maker, that's going to be on you and how you use it. For me, I love it. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife for me. Trust me, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed at all. I don't do just hardware, I also do software. I consider myself more of a hybrid producer. And if you wanna see what plugins I deem most important for me in 2023, check this video out right here. TBR. Peace.